pioneers and leaders in sustainability, I dare say in India and globally. Dr. Shah.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here on a very important topic today. Our journey in sustainability began in 2008, well before it was in the headlines anywhere in the world. And there were a number of actions taken over the last 14 years. We set science-based targets for 21 of our companies in 2016. We made commitments for EP100, RE100 to get to carbon neutral, etc. But more important than the commitments was tangible actions. Our teams led and delivered over 2,000 projects, looking at different ways to get one step forward in getting towards carbon neutral. We've reached about 50% renewable energy today, 74% on EP, on track to meet our targets to be 100% by 25 and 26 respectively. We've got to water positive across the group. We had India's first carbon neutral plant at Igatpuri, and a number of other actions. But that is not enough. There's a much greater level of urgency today because collectively, we're not meeting the target set, and we're going to exceed 1.5 degrees of warming, which will cause much greater problems. So what more can we do? The first is around decarbonizing our industries. Everything that we've done so far, or a large part, is about greening ourselves. But we've got to go beyond that to decarbonize our industries. Let me give a few examples here. Automobiles. We talk a lot about electric vehicles. An average automobile will generate 35 tons of carbon in its lifetime. If we move to 100% EV, we will generate 27 tons of carbon in its lifetime for one car. Not a big change. So why all this fuss about EVs? But the product alone is not enough. The question is, what is the source of electricity? The reason it's 27% is because most of it is fossil fuel based. If we then move to 100% renewable energy, we go from 27 to 7. And then we've got to take care of the remaining 7, which is from steel, from other components that come in, from transportation, recycling. There is a whole host of things that come in there. But that's the ecosystem-based focus that we have to drive. How do we make all of that work together? And it's possible. If you look at real estate, for example, we've in fact launched India's first residential net zero carbon community. And there's a fair amount of technology and science that goes into doing that. And we are contemplating whether we can make a commitment that by a certain date, every single residential project we launch will be net zero carbon. And we will very soon come out with that plan. As we look at hospitality, we're looking at our resorts and trying to see how we can get them not just net zero carbon, but water positive and zero waste to landfill. 3 of our resorts are there today, but we still have a way to go on that front. My point is, it's possible. And that's how we take each industry and look at it and say, how can we transform that industry? Beyond decarbonizing, we collectively have to take actions on nurturing the planet. We have done a few things on that front. We've planted 20 million trees over the last 15 years or 14 years. We've done a lot of actions on water management, on land productivity for agriculture. And this has a power to really transform. And I'll share a story here. A lot of our tree planting was targeted towards one particular district in Andhra Pradesh. And we achieved a very high survival rate of 83%. But more than that, it was a community that got developed around it, the ability to have better land as a result of it. And they started growing coffee, the tribals. And that coffee was actually of very high quality. It was marketed, branded as Araku coffee. Today, there is a cafe in Paris with Araku coffee, a cafe in Vancouver, and they're looking at going global. And this is a tribal community from Andhra Pradesh that's been able to do this. So there is tremendous power to this. And then as we think about our journey, it's not just about net zero carbon. We look at it as planet positive. So while we had a target to be net zero carbon by 2040, we've now changed it to be planet positive by 2040, which is carbon, water, and waste to landfill. All of those things need to be addressed together. So how do we do this? The first thing is we do it together, not individually. And that power is important because there is this false myth that profits and sustainability are a choice. They're not really a choice. What we've seen is what's good for the planet is actually good for the business as well. Not just in the IRR that you get from the projects that you do and the amount that you spend on it. That is positive as well, but that's just not it. It's the consumers that you attract. It's the brand that you build and the ecosystem around you. We realized that many years ago. In the world today, it's even more important. The second call to action is around technology innovation. And we can talk about it. But just talking is not enough. There will be innovators. That again is not enough. We need to tangibly take actions on this. And one example of it is the First Movers Coalition. Mahendra Singhi, who's here, is one of the founder members. So is the Mahindra Group. And this is a coalition founded by the World Economic Forum. The objective being, let's find ways to encourage innovation by actually buying materials that are green. We started with steel, cement, shipping, and services as 4 areas. It's expanded now. And each member is expected to start acquiring, purchasing some % of their overall procurement as green commodities. So for us, it's green steel. And I remember having conversations with some of our suppliers a year ago and asking them about green steel, and I got a blank stare back. They said, what is green steel? Okay. That is changing now. But if each company commits a certain percentage, it starts developing products. It starts allowing businesses to say, I'm going to invest in this. And then as you start building scale, it starts becoming mainstream. So that's the tangible action we're talking about. And final point is investing. And that's something that is happening here today as well, as we have a number of startups. But there again, collectively, we've got to come and invest in these technologies, invest in startups and other entrepreneurs who want to build this. So in summary, this is a challenge that we have to face together. It is a very significant one, but we have the power to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. He said somebody had asked him the question, what is green steel?